I see your children.
One day, these very flags will fly over the Parliament in London. We will see these flags that will fly over the White House. And we will see the Black House, the Kaaba, will take over the whole world.
Islam will come and it will conquer the UK, it will conquer Holland, it will conquer Rome, it will conquer the world. Wherever he goes, let him know that Islam will come. Islam will dominate. Islam will dominate the east of the east and the west of the west. So no matter where he runs, the stop, Islam will be implemented so he can go and crawl under any rock.
We are now witnessing profound changes that will forever alter Europe's destiny and might send our continent in what Ronald Reagan once called 1,000 years of darkness. The takeover of Europe is part of the global fight of Islam for world domination. Islam is a political ideology. Islam's heart lies at the Quran, and the Quran is a book that calls for hatred, that calls for violence, that calls for murder, that calls for war, that calls for submission. And the Quran asks and orders Muslims to kill non-Muslims. There is no such thing as a moderate Islam. Sure, there are moderate Muslims, but there is no moderate Islam. Muhammad was a warlord, and in establishing Islam, he preached violence. He preached the slaughter of non-Muslims. He took part in 78 battles and slaughtered the Jewish tribe of Banu Qurayza. And Muhammad said, and I quote, "I have been ordered by Allah to fight against people until they testify that there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger." The purest joy in Islam is to kill and to be killed. And ladies and gentlemen, Muhammad's behavior and the Quran inspire until today jihadists from all over the world. We have to stop pretending that Islam is a religion. Islam is not a religion. Islam is a totalitarian ideology. Islam wants to rule every aspect of society and every part of any person's life. Therefore, Islam should not be compared with other religions like Christianity or Judaism or Buddhism, but Islam should be compared with other totalitarian ideologies like communism or fascism. If we would acknowledge the fact that Islam is not a religion but an ideology, it means also that the right to all these religious freedoms do not apply to Islam. The truth is that Islam has always attempted to conquer Europe, and it has done so for centuries. The Christian city of Constantinople fell, as we all know, in the 15th century. And now, in the 21st century, Islam is trying again. This time, not with armies, but through the application of Al-Hijra, the Islamic doctrine of migration. This doctrine, Al-Hijra, is based on the example of Muhammad, who, as you know, migrated from Mecca to Medina. And the Libyan leader, Muhammad al-Gaddafi, said, and I quote him, "We have today 50 million Muslims in Europe. There are signs that Allah will grant them victory in Europe without swords, without guns, without conquest. Those 50 million Muslims of Europe will turn Europe into a Muslim continent within a few decades." For the first time in world history, there are dozens of millions of Muslims living far outside the Dar al-Islam, the Islamic world, and that poses an enormous threat to us.
والمشركين أعداءك أعداء الدين اللهم احصهم عددا وقتلهم بددا ولا تغادر منهم أحدا.
يا أمة محمد، سيقول حتى الحجر يا مسلم هذا يهودي خلفي تعال وقامته، ونحن نقطعها والله لا نقطعها أيها اليهود. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. الجهاد في سبيل الله الجهاد في سبيل الله الجهاد في سبيل الله.
Please be aware that everything I mention is just the beginning. If things continue like this, you will have the same problems as we currently have in Europe. If we do not stop the Islamization, we will lose everything. We will lose our identity. We will lose our culture, our democratic constitutional state, our freedom, and indeed our civilization. And in Europe, we are already losing the right of free speech, the right to criticize Islam. The elites that rule our societies, our so-called leaders, have converted to the sick ideology and the sick philosophy a long time ago that all cultures are equal. Government leaders, judges, even some churches, trade unions, university, the media, all of them are blinded by the political correctness and have chosen the side of Islam. Well, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, all cultures are not equal. My country is in the process of becoming Hollandistan, as Europe, as Badior stated correctly, is becoming Eurabia. And let me give you a few examples. Only 12% of the German Muslims see themselves more Germans than Muslims. And churches all over Europe, churches are emptying out, whereas mosques are shooting up like mushrooms. Medieval phenomena as burqas, as honor killings, as female genital mutilation are becoming more and more prevalent in the Europe of today. Sharia statements, Sharia testaments, Sharia mortgages, Sharia schools, Sharia banks, yes, even in the United Kingdom, Sharia courts and even Sharia Barbie dolls.
اسلام دینی است که دنیا رو میخواد اداره کنه و اداره کرده و بالاخره اداره خواهد کرد.
پیام انقلاب پیام جهانی است، در جغرافیا و زمان محدود نمی شود. تردید نکنید که انشاءالله اسلام همه کجا رو فتح خواهد کرد؟ همه قله های جهان رو فتح خواهد کرد.
قد حكمنا الدنيا وسيأتي يوم والله نحكم فيه كل الدنيا. سيأتي يوم نحكم فيه أمريكا، سيأتي يوم نحكم فيه بريطانيا، ونحكم فيه كل العالم.
إن الله عز وجل أوجب علينا أن ننشر هذا الدين في الأرض كلها.
You will take over USA, you will take over UK, you will take over Europe, you will defeat them all, you will get victory, you will take over Egypt. We trust in Allah.
And then I have not even mentioned that, for instance, in Denmark, in the capital of Denmark, Copenhagen, 70% of the crimes are committed by Muslims. Ladies and gentlemen, we let in the Trojan horse. And we also have to close down the worst institution in our societies, at least in Europe, the fascist institution of Islamic schools. Ladies and gentlemen, schools where young children who should assimilate and become full members of our society are being raised with an ideology of hate, with an ideology of terror. We should close down all the Islamic schools. Let us also be tough on those people who do not want to integrate. For people who are already in our societies and are from Muslim and Islamic background, let me tell to them that if they adhere to our values, to our constitutions, that they are welcome to stay and they are equal as anybody else, since we have no hate to any person whatsoever. But as soon as they have an idea that they think about Sharia, that they think about jihad, that they commit criminal acts, we tell them, we expel them, we tell them, there is the door, you have to leave our society.
As we know, the Muslims, the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever insults the Prophet, faqtiluhu, kill him. So we are here to let the people know that we are not going to stand for this no more. That
Islam will come and it will conquer the UK, it will conquer Holland, it will conquer Rome, it will conquer the world. Wherever he goes, let him know that Islam will come. Islam will dominate. Islam will dominate the east of the east and the west of the west. So no matter where he runs, the stop, Islam will be implemented so he can go and crawl under any rock.